This comes to us from Pirate Nation. He said, Nintendo forces Japanese charity speedrun event to remove its games from the lineup, citing unauthorized use. Organizers must now seek permission for every game. And if you thought that this was going to be the first time Nintendo's ever did this, you'd think wrong. Because Nintendo seems to have a way of, I don't know, anytime there's a charity trying to do something nice for disabled people or people in need, they have a way to be like Disney with their lawyers. Nintendo is not a company that is necessarily in the good graces with the people. Darius responds, it is extremely ethical to pirate Nintendo products. Shuri, reminder, it's always morally right to pirate Nintendo. I'm Batman. Anyone trying to defend Nintendo in 2025 is hopeless. And I saw this on Dexerto. I said, awful. Dexerto says, Nintendo has forced Japan's biggest speedrun charity event, RTA, to remove its games. After years of use, they told them each title now requires approval. And you got to ask yourself, why? What is motivating Nintendo out of the blue to just come out and be like, yep, you gotta let us know if this is gonna be something we're moving forward with you. This is the Dexerto article. Nintendo issued a warning to speedrun charity event in Japan, which led to the organizers pulling its games from their lineup. This is terrible. As the biggest charity speedrunning series in Japan, many had been looking forward to the RTA Summer 2025 event. The marathon, which takes place from August 9th to August 15th, 2025, first showcased its lineup of games back in June. From Cuphead to Silent Hill to Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and many others, there are plenty of popular titles that gamers are familiar with. However, if there's one thing that's noticeable, it's a lack of Nintendo games. If there's not a better example for a company that's gotten too big for itself and thinks that they're holier than thou in the gaming industry, like, bro, games are meant to be enjoyed by people. This is free advertising. Why would you not want a charity event for everything to showcase your game to people and make them want to participate or try to speedrun it themselves? According to Automation, there was no official explanation behind this at the time. However, now the event organizers have shed some light on the situation, revealing that the exclusion of Nintendo titles was due to them getting a warning. Charity speedrunning event organizers warned by Nintendo. On their website, they explained that they were contacted by Nintendo and told that as a legal entity, they would have to ask for permission in advance to feature their games during the event on June 13th, 2025. Now, this is the site. It just translated from Japanese. Notice regarding the use of Nintendo games in RTA Japan. We'd like to explain how we have come to use gamers for which Nintendo holds the copyright in RTA Japan and why Nintendo games are not being used. RTA in Japan has previously used Nintendo games, but on June 13th, 2025, Nintendo pointed out that the use of their games by a corporation requires prior permission, and that our previous use was without prior permission and constituted unauthorized use. Talk about scaring the shit out of a charity that's just organizing games to be played for fun for charity purposes. And getting that, yeah, I'd stop playing Nintendo games too if I were them. I'd be like, yeah, we want nothing to do with you guys. And if the court, if you want to like sue us for this, we can tell the court we didn't know and we stopped using them right away. Like, don't come after us for things we didn't know we were doing something wrong in the past. As of now, the decision has been made that RTA in Japan will submit individual licensing applications to Nintendo for each event and game. However, for RTA in Japan Summer 2025, we were able to clearly determine how to handle this at the time the participating games were announced, so we've decided not to use Nintendo games. For events held at RTA in Japan after RTA in Japan Summer 2025, It's expected that permission will be submitted in advance to Nintendo, and that permission will be granted before the event can be used. I gotta be honest, like, I get it because they want to involve Nintendo, but I feel like this is one of those situations that this charity's trying to do the right thing, but it's important to point out that Nintendo are absolute douchebags right now for doing this. Like, absolute douchebags. What could possibly be used against you in the future? Maybe Nintendo is thinking like, oh, if we let them do this without warning, then someone else could theoretically use it for commercial purposes without authorization. And then if we sued them, they could cite this charity and be like, well, you let that charity do it. Why don't you let us do it? And that actually might let them off with it. So maybe that's what Nintendo's thinking. Potentially, I'm just trying to play both sides of this. But I got to be honest, guys, this looks so bad. No matter how you slice it, this looks terrible. As a result, it's expected the application guidelines will notify details have been decided. We would also like to apologize to those who submitted games that were affected by this issue to RTA in Japan. RTA in Japan. That's the other thing. If they're bringing speedrunners in to play the games, and then they're like, oh yeah, actually we're not doing those games anymore because Nintendo's not letting us do that. Sorry. And the person's like, okay, so what am I supposed to play while I'm here? They'd be like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bro, but we're not doing the Nintendo games this year because we need to remove them all and then resubmit for prior approval for us to be able to speed run a Nintendo game at a charity. This is just such a power grab, throwing your nuts on the table. We are Nintendo. We are the Disney of gaming. We can do whatever the hell we want, and ain't no one going to tell us otherwise. It's gross. Nintendo also stated that all previous streams featuring the games constitute unauthorized use. Given that the RTA hopes to stream Nintendo games at future events, the organizers have decided to comply with the permission requests and have begun negotiations with the company. Because of this, they explained, the game application guidelines and requirements are expected to change, though they'll provide information as soon as they have all the details. For now, fans shouldn't expect to see games like Mario, Legend of Zelda in their upcoming event, now that they've opened up about Nintendo's warning. As has been the case for a while now, Nintendo is known to have strict guidelines regarding its games or IP, which how I started this out. This isn't even the first time that the company has led to something like this to happen. As in back in February 2022, Super Smash Bros. Was pulled from the EVO fighting game tournament. That still to this day, EVO and Smash Bros. Is at a constant clash with each other. Absolute insanity. Smash Bros. One of the biggest fighting tournament games that people were playing, and Nintendo turned it into such a massive deal. And it goes back to the whole ROM thing in a way, because it's like, if you are not providing people a way to purchase the game and they want to download the ROM, quote unquote, illegally, like, why do you care? How is it impacting you financially? What's the difference? And then you look at Smash Brothers with the EVO fighting tournament. How is this impacting you financially? Oh, because you might put on your own fighting game tournament yourselves, Nintendo? That's how it could. Okay. Why aren't you doing it? Why is it always everyone else taking the reins and being like, okay, Nintendo isn't doing shit with their IP. We love your games because they're really good games. And at the end of the day, that's why Nintendo is always going to be around, because as long as their games are awesome games, you can bitch and moan as much as you want. People can still buy them and still play them. But Nintendo doesn't do anything with it. They don't do the tournaments. They don't put things on. They don't put the ROMs from own games available to purchase. They might put them on the online service, but you can't own them forever. You have to pay a monthly fee, which goes back to the whole Clippy thing, by the way, where you have to always buy something, always pay something every month to be able to keep playing and keep playing, keep playing. And you go, what? Well, I just want to buy the game and own it. Why can't I just play the game that I purchase and own it myself? And Nintendo is just like, yeah, no, we are the arbiter of truth here. Fuck you. Bend the knee. And any charities trying to play our games, get out of here. Ask us for prior approval first kiss my ring, because otherwise it's a no. Talk about the audacity from this company. I swear. When I saw that they were not letting a charity speedrunner event go, I'm just like, this is a new low for Nintendo. A low that they continue to keep surpassing seemingly every year. It can't be a great look for them PR wise. And in fact, the only way for them to save face right now would be to issue a statement saying that there was a misunderstanding, that they don't want to impact the charity, and that they feel bad about the misunderstanding. But they're not going to do that, because this isn't a misunderstanding. This is what they wanted. This is what they pushed forward. And ultimately, this is what they get. They get people saying, yep, fuck you, Nintendo, on top of raising game prices, raising your next generation console prices, raising the prices of the previous generation console prices, blaming tariffs when that's not a thing, and then saying, yep, keep buying more from us. How are people supposed to feel about this company at this point? I feel like they're losing faith at a record pace right now, which is wild to say after someone like me, a diehard Wii U fan, was supporting them throughout all those years, and the 3DS as well, and knowing that they were struggling. Now they're back on top, and you wouldn't even know they ever even struggled. They're treating people like pieces of shit right now. It's terrible. I'll leave that there. Fucking Nintendo.